Alright guys, this is a little video I'm making for a valve adjustment for the Honda S2000. There are some videos on, there's actually only one video on YouTube that described this really well for me. I've attempted this once before, but I didn't have all the tools. So basically this is the setup I got. You're going to have a lot of room, as much room as you can to work. And I've actually just been sitting right there. Probably not a great idea, but it's the only way you can actually get to all the stuff there. And so I've got all my parts set aside here. And of course, I've got the cam cover over here covered up so bugs and mosquitoes and debris and whatnot don't get into there. Got my gauges here, laptop, listening to some Return of the Mac. You can choose to listen to whatever you want to. Got my energy drink, my source of distraction right there, and then I've got all my necessary tools I've been needing. Alright, so now that I'm seated properly in here, I'll show you what we got here. I've done all of these, and you have to start out and you have to line up this line and all this other business. Basically, the whole point of lining that up is so that these little rockers here, forgive me if I'm not using the proper term, these guys here, you can see they're kind of egg-shaped. It's round here, and then it's kind of oval, and then it goes down. As long as the valves that you're adjusting, as long as this part is not depressing any of these valves, you can get an accurate adjustment and feel for it. If it's depressed all the way like this one is, you're not going to be able to get any of the feeler gauges in there. So basically, let's go ahead and do this. For this one back here, you can see it's depressed. Sorry, I don't have autofocus on this fancy camera here. So what I'll do, down here, I don't know if you can see it, I've got a wrench with a 19mm attachment on it, and it's attached to the whatever that thing is, the turny thing that the belt goes around. Like I said, I don't know the correct terminologies for it, but let's go ahead and sit this over here, and I will turn this thing and you'll see what happens here. So I'm turning it slowly, and you can see that the top of it is starting to crest around. Alright, so now that those guys are up, it is not depressing the valves at the back there, and I can go ahead and check them. Alright, I'm grabbing my intake gauges here. We've got an 8 and a 9 is what I have. So first of all, I want to check and see how far off they were from where they're supposed to be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first take this, and I had to buy these, and it was in like a Swiss Army knife kind of thing. I unscrewed it, pulled them out, and then put a little bend in it. You can't get to these if they're flat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can show this to you. I'll do it on this one first. This guy right here, you're going to put the feeler pretty much on top of the retainer. You see that has the retainer has a yellow thing around it. That's just the top of the spring. But you're going to try to fit this between the retainer and the screw that makes the adjustment on it. I don't know what the screw is. Let me see if it fits in here. Alright, so that was my 9 gauge, and that's my no-go gauge. That's not supposed to fit in there, and you can see it swivels around freely. You can see where it's supposed to fit. So I know that this is out of spec. It's not out of spec by much. Some of these were way off. I could easily fit the 9 in there with no friction. This one actually has a little friction on it, so this one's not too bad. but it still needs to be cinched down. So before I do anything, you can't adjust the screw without loosening these nuts here. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pull this guy out, set it back over here, take my crazy little attachment that I've made, and then loosen her up a little bit. Let's see if I can adjust this focus. Alright, so they shouldn't be torqued on too hard. There it is, and it just pops loose like that. And you want to try to get it right to where it's loose and it starts to cinch up a little bit. Let me go ahead and loosen this other one while I'm here. This one's on a little tighter. There it is. Alright, loose, and then cinch it up just a bit. That way that nut's not swiveling around while I'm trying to work here. Alright, so what I'll do is I'll take my screwdriver, I'll very gently tighten it up just a hair. And that's probably all it needs right there. Now what I like to do before, I tried checking the feelers before tightening, but whenever I would tighten it would change it all up, so I'd rather just tighten it up then check them. So what I'm going to do, torque it back down. I don't know what the torque specs are. I don't have a torque wrench that'll fit to this, or a torque wrench that'll go to those specific torque settings. Alright, so that's pretty snug, and I'll re-snug it later. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take, first of all, my 9, I don't know if that's a 9mm or 9/1000ths of an inch or whatever, but I'll take it, and it still fits in there. So that tells me I need to tighten it down a little more. So then what I'll do is I'll put this back on there, loosen it, tighten it down just a little more. And it's important to kind of keep an eye on where this screw is pointing, because when you do tighten it down or you loosen it, on some of them it can kind of fly off. So what I'll do, I'll tighten this again. Alright, take my 9, alright, and my 9 will not fit in there. So now I know that it's tight enough, then I can go ahead and take my 8 and then put my 8 in there and see if that fits. Alright, so what I did was do some adjusting, some tightening down, readjusting, retrying the 8 and the 9. Finally got it to where the 8 fits and the 9 doesn't. And then once you do that, you torque it down, and then when that's done, you can go on to the other valve. I don't think it matters in which order, if you do that one first, then this one, or this one and this one. As long as it's the same cylinder there, you should be good to go. And then after you do that, then you can move over to your exhaust side, and you can see that this one needs to be adjusted a little bit so that the top of the roller there is up here. And then you can do your adjustments. Same thing for that, just don't forget to switch your gauges. This one will use a 10 and 11.